Welcome to Hanging with Here to Zen, the genre-free music and lifestyle podcast presented by Here to Zen magazine. This is the place to come to celebrate all types of music, lifestyle, and more. We are glad you have come along for the ride, so sit back and enjoy the episode.
Hey Ben, how's things, man?
Not too bad, Andrew. Sorry I'm a little bit late.
Oh, 1 whole minute. We're good.
You're my last interview of the day, so it's been a hectic morning.
I bet. So we'll make it nice and easy, as painless as humanly possible, huh?
Thank you very much indeed.
You're back in April. So it's April 9th at Adelaide, April 10th Canberra, April 11th Brisbane, April 12th in Sydney, and April 13th in Melbourne. Seriously, no fucking rest at all on that tour. Are you ready?
Well, yeah, I guess we're going to have to be. You know, we arrive into Adelaide on the 9th, coming down from Japan, and then it's just full steam ahead. But, you know, it's a whistle-stop tour. But, you know, since it's been 11 years since we played in Australia, we wanted to make it happen this year. And the only way we can do it, you know, we don't make a living from Orange Goblin. We all have to work day jobs. So this 2-week period we're using to travel down there, it's there wasn't an opportunity for us to sort of have days off in between. There's extra expenses involved in that, so we're doing as much as we possibly can in a short space of time. And all that's important to us is that we put on the best show possible and people enjoy it. Hopefully this won't be the last time, and it won't be another 10 years until we come back. So, you know, it's going to be hard work, it's going to be grueling, but we're prepared for that and looking forward to it.
Now, as you said, a lot of bands these days do have to supplement. You know, the band is like their pocket money away from their day job and almost like a little bit of a holiday. So,
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to things like that, how important is it for the band to make sure all the ducks line up? You know, they're all in a row when it comes to a tour, because basically one thing out of place can fuck everything up.
Absolutely, and you know, a lot of that responsibility falls on my shoulders because my day job is I run my own booking agency, and Orange Goblin being one of the clients, you know, I'm responsible for liaising with the promoters and making sure the flights are booked, making sure everybody knows where they've got to be at the car park that morning to catch their flights and things like that. There's a lot of fine tuning goes into a tour like this, especially on the other side of the world. But you know, we've been doing it for long enough now, and I think everything's sort of in place. But you know, as you say, one small thing, one missed flight could put a real dent in everything. And there was a period, funnily enough, around when we last came to Australia for Soundwave, where we were actually doing Orange Goblin as a full-time job. But you know, the music we play, it's kind of underground, and it's never going to be mainstream. I don't think we're going to be the next Iron Maiden, or, you know, these days the bands that are enjoying more success are a bit more commercially viable, the likes of Bring Me the Horizon and that, and that's just not us. I'd rather continue doing what we do and having to work. So we understand that, you know, it's not likely to ever change again, and we're always going to have other jobs. But that's what makes it so enjoyable when we do get together to do Orange Goblin. You know, it's our release valve. It's how we channel that frustration that builds up over the course of a working week, and you know, getting together with your mates and having a few drinks and playing music that you want to create. You know, everybody has their favorite bands, but there's never been that one band that in particularly combine all of my favorite styles of music, and that's what I try and do with Orange Goblin. That's what we all try and do with Orange Goblin. So yeah, it's still fun. It's still a lot of fun. It's still good to do. It's a good way of, you know, expressing yourself, getting that artistic creation out, and having a good time doing it. So all the time we're enjoying it, we'll continue.
So I've got to ask, being a booking agent, that's going to almost have a bit of a tour manager mentality vibe when you're on the road. How many alarms do you set in your damn phone for lobby calls?
Well, you know, I'm approaching 2 years sober now. So I'm pretty good with that sort of thing. It's the guys that are still drinking that struggle to get up in the mornings. So I don't have. I've never really struggled with that. I've always been pretty good with being on time and being organised, and so the band really. But I don't think we've ever kind of particularly had to, rush anywhere because someone hasn't made lobby call or anything like that. So I've got no concerns with that. We've had issues in the past where, been on a tour bus, pulled into a service station late at night for someone to get up and go for a piss, and then someone else has got out of their bunk and gone in without saying anything, and then we've driven off before we've done a head count and only
Excellent.
realised 2.5 hours up the road that we've left them behind and had to go back. So hopefully those days are beyond us. 30 years experience. We're kind of a well-oiled machine now.
Yeah.
And as you say, I do take on the tour manager responsibilities, but I enjoy it. I like sort of having that knowledge of knowing when things should be done and where people should be and that sort of thing. And I think if in the past we've worked with a management company where things were out of our control, and I kind of like, I don't know, maybe my OCD kicked in, and I didn't like sort of having to rely on somebody else. So yeah, we've all got strategic roles within the group. You've got Harry does a lot of the visual side of things. Chris handles the merchandise side of things. Joe's responsible for the lockup and the studio and booking, that sort of thing. And then I do all the bookings and management side of stuff. So yeah, it's all a one-stop shop.
Well, when the band was starting, so as you said, it's 30 years. So the internet was in its very, very early days as far as music promotion was concerned. So it still would have been the days of flyers and street press. So
absolutely,
now it's TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. How important is that sort of social media side for Orange Goblin?
Obviously, it's important and it's something we've had to embrace, but we haven't relied on it as much as maybe new bands do. Because the relationships within the industry that we forged were done prior to the internet. As you say, we used to have to print our own flyers, standing there for hours on end at a photocopy, and then cutting them up and maximising how many little flyers you could get out of a sheet of A4. Going to the gigs and standing outside the queue, handing them to everybody, being that annoying guy that's just all putting pieces of paper in your hand. Doing the same. We've had demos and turning up at shows and hoping to catch a glimpse of someone from the band that you're there to see, so you put a tape in their hand. Doing all going to the post office with like multi-packs of padded envelopes full of your cassettes to send off to magazines, and it was fanzines back then, that sort of thing, because there wasn't a great deal of heavy metal press available. This was, I remember in the UK there was Kerrang magazine, there was Raw magazine. And then just as we started in around 94, Terrorizer came out. And that was a great source for us because it dealt, with underground music, and our demo got featured in there. And I remember thinking, Christ, we've made it now. But, these bands these days, they do have it a little bit easier, don't they? With the, you could actually record a pretty good sounding demo in your bedroom with things like GarageBand, and you can stick it up on Bandcamp or Spotify or whatever, and all of a sudden you've got global reach and exposure to millions of people. That was never the case. And I think coming up with that DIY ethic and that kind of old school approach is what has given us the resilience and the experience, and that has led to our longevity, and essentially. So, as I say, we have had to embrace things. It started with MySpace and then Facebook and then Instagram and then now TikTok, and I don't even have TikTok. I don't even do Twitter. These things are beyond my comprehension, but they're things I know that are essential now to a band's success.
I know about the TikTok. I've sort of embraced in the last 6 months, and whereas I used to go, I've got to put a post up, it's like, oh fuck, I've got to put a TikTok up. And you talk about GarageBand. Literally before I chatted to you, I was in the car with my 9-year-old who was telling me about this game on his new iPad called GarageBand. I'm like, dude, that's not a game, that's a recording studio. And you saw the wheels in his head tick over. Like, I was like, you can do a lot on that, dude. He's like, oh really? So you think about that,
creating masterpieces now.
Well, as long as, hey, look, he can pay the bills as much as he wants.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you come down here, checking online, you've finished recording the new album.
Yep.
Yeah, you're in the process of the mix and the master, like part of it all.
Absolutely, yeah. We wrapped up recording on December the 19th. We was in there for we do things over a period of weekends, which is
Yep.
a good way to record because it means we can go away in the week, listen to it with fresh ears, and then go back in and say we think we could do that slightly different and change things up. So we've always the last few albums we've recorded that way. And this time we had the honor of working with a guy called Mike Exeter, who previously worked with Black Sabbath and Judas Priest and a lot of Tony Iommi stuff. He's worked with Ozzy and Dio and did the Heaven and Hell album. So he's got a lot of pedigree and he knew exactly what it was that we were about and what we wanted to sound like. And prior to recording, he came down to Brighton for a few days for pre-production and started sort of making suggestions with regards to arrangements and all this sort of thing. And he pretty much became like a fifth member of the band throughout the whole process.
Right.
So that's all done, and we're now, you know, each day he's starting to send through final mixes. We're due to deliver to the label by the end of this month. And what we've heard so far sounds fantastic. It's a really good sounding record. And I don't know whether it's because of sort of development as musicians and songwriters over the past 30 years, or whether it's down to the fact that, you know, Harry's added a fresh element to the band. Now he's on bass, but everybody's really stepped up. Chris's drums are great. Joe's guitar playing is, you know, I think Joe's a very underrated guitar player anyway, but he really, really has made a step up in dynamics on this record. Harry's bass sounds great, and there's a lot of keyboard work going on. And I think that's the primary difference with this album to other ones. There's still that core sort of influence of Black Sabbath and Motorhead that sort of rides through every Orange Goblin album. But this one, we've incorporated stuff from the likes of, you know, we've been listening to a lot of Rush and Yes and King Crimson, and so there's almost a progressive rock feel to it, and you know, it sounds great. It's got a science fiction theme to it, and yeah, couldn't be happier.
Oh, that's good. So you said Rush. What do you think about these rumors of Danny Carey playing drums for Rush and them going out?
I don't know. I mean, obviously, it'd be great to hear that material live again, but without Neil on drums, I don't think it's going to work. I really don't. I think the magic of Rush is the magic that those three guys combine.
Yeah.
Combined, it's you know, it's very special. I mean, that said, you listen to the first Rush album, and I know Neil didn't play on that, and it's great, but you know, it was only really after that first album that they really started to set themselves apart from every other band.
Yeah.
And a large reason for that is because of the drumming and what he does. It's almost like within Rush, the drums are the lead instrument, and then Alex
absolutely.
and he just sort of follow what he's doing. And the fact that Neil wrote the lyrics as well is, it just, I don't know, it doesn't seem right to me. But you know, I might be surprised, and you know, if the other guys want to do it, then why shouldn't they? You know, every other band has gone out. You know, when they did I was lucky enough to go to the O2 and see the Led Zeppelin reunion shows with Jason Bonham on drums, and it was pretty special. And I remember at the time when they announced it, everyone was saying, "Oh no, it's not John Bonham, so it's not Led Zeppelin." But they were great. They sounded like Led Zeppelin. So, you know,
right. With you coming in April, do we get any previews of new material?
I think so. You know, we're itching to play this material live, and it kind of seems a bit stupid to just sit on those songs and not give the Australian audience a little bit of a preview of what's to come. So I think there'll be a couple of songs in the set. You know, obviously now 30 years into a career and with 10 studio albums, it's hard to cram a set list into an hour and a half. But I think what we've learned in recent years is that we're a good festival band. And that's because we can take a couple of songs from each of our albums, and it gives you a kind of a ride through the career and the catalogue of Orange Goblin. So I don't expect that to change anytime soon. So essentially, the audience will be getting a best of Orange Goblin plus a couple of new songs that I can actually say that you're going to get to hear in Australia before anywhere else in the world.
Perfect. What's your lead time for this new record?
I think the release date will be June the 7th is what's being earmarked. So, we've got kind of like 5 months.
Yep. And do you see like 2, 3 singles before then, which is generally what a lot of bands
Yeah,
do
I
now?
think that's the plan. We're still devising a campaign at the moment. There's going to be a couple of singles at least. There's going to be videos, whether they're what they call like the visualizers, the lyric videos, and then a proper, promotional video. We're not sure yet, but there's going to be, stuff around the UK, maybe some in-store stuff. We've got a show in Switzerland in March, but that's the only live thing we're planning. There's going to be, exclusive merchandise leading up to the release of the album. There's, designs based on songs from the album and stuff like that. They're trying to plan when the album title is going to be released and the song titles and the artwork and all that sort of thing. So it's all got to tie in together. And that's going to be when we announce the UK tour for later this year as well. So there's a lot of work to be done.
Do you think it's important to keep things a mystery now? Like I know when a lot of bands release albums, like here's a track list, here's the single, and like they just throw it all out there. Whereas I'm a kid from the '70s who sometimes you didn't even know an album came out until you went to the record store.
Yeah, I like that mystery. I like and it creates a buzz around it as well. And I think that's essential these days, especially, in a market that we might say is a bit oversaturated. As we were saying earlier, bands can produce albums willy-nilly now at home and not really sort of put much thought in it, and it's out there. So I like the idea of doing things properly, build a proper campaign around it. If I had my way, I'd have the fucking billboards up on Sunset Strip like the old days, Kiss and Grand Funk Railroad and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I think it's important to do things right, and especially working from the other side of the industry as a booking agent. A band's strategy now is key because, as you know, bands used to go on tour to sell an album. Now they produce an album so they can go on tour because there is a great deal of money in record sales. It's all digital these days, and a band's main income comes from their ticket sales and their merchandise sales. So it's pretty much flipped the industry on its head. But that strategy is really key. And now as a booking agent, I find that I'm not so much, just going to promoters and festivals and booking shows. I'm actually getting involved from an almost managerial point and handling the careers of these artists, because that's what you need to have in place. You need to know when to release your record. You need to know when to go on tour and vice versa. So it's a very different business these days.
Well, I'll tell you from an Australian music fan, thank you for not coming in February. Because
too hot.
Well, no, there's about 500 fucking bands coming in February. I don't think I'm going to have a day off, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So when I saw April, I was like, oh yeah, it's just started to cool down a little bit as well, but less saturation, less.
From our point of view, I think when we first started discussing this through Soundworks Direct, we were like, we want to come over. It's going to have to sort of be the first quarter of the year, and we said we don't want to come sort of January, February when it's too hot, because I remember from Soundwave, our first show was, I think it was Brisbane, and we was like on this outdoor stage with the sun pounding down on us around midday, and it was just absolutely horrible. It was so hot.
I would have been there on that day, that exact day.
Yeah,
I would have been shooting, and it was Soundwave in Brisbane is just the worst time for anybody to be alive.
Yeah, it was really, really hot that day, and we learned we don't want to go when it's when summer's at its peak there. So yeah, I'm quite happy with April. It works out quite well.
So I've got to ask, you're talking before about putting your demo out and you'd go to shows. Who was the most famous person you got your cassette in the hand of back in the day?
Well, I remember it was always kind of shows at places like the Marquee, the old Marquee. I remember going there to see the likes of. We used to go and see Cannibal Corpse and Napalm Death and Obituary, and then Cathedral, obviously. I guess getting a CD to the cassette to Lee Dorian was the one that sticks out, because that proved the most sort of productive for us, because he signed us to Rise Above Records off the back of that. So, I think we gave one to Biohazard once at the Marquee. We went out to Camden Coco's, and I think we put one in the hands of John from Obituary. There was Chris Barnes was in Cannibal Corpse at the time. I think we got one to him. The guys in Paradise Lost. I mean, they're not massive names in the grand scheme of things, but to us at the time as kids, they were like heroes. So,
well, and they've got the longevity. So
exactly.
You can be famous today and forgotten tomorrow. So longevity is famous to me.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I had a similar conversation earlier in an interview when we was talking about this sort of longevity. And I think it goes back to what we were saying about coming from that DIY sort of old school pre-internet, where you kind of made genuine connections with people. These weren't sort of Facebook friendships where you've never met the person before. You just you actually had face-to-face conversations with them, and you stayed at people's houses. That's how you used to be able to tour. There weren't sort of budgets for bands to stay at hotels and things like that. You used to have to jump in a clapped out old van, sleep on the gear, or you'd doss on someone's floor, and that was how you'd make it fun. So we learned that from a very early age, and I think it's important to a band's not just their longevity, but also their integrity as well.
Yep.
I think that one of the reasons you get a lot of these flash in the pan bands these days that don't stick around more than 5 minutes is because they've had everything handed to them on a plate straight away, and as soon as the going gets tough, they bail. They haven't played these fucking toilet venues where 4 people have turned up and they've had to eat scraps from the fucking takeaway next door, or sleep on people's floors, or sleep in the back of the van on the gear, all huddled together with coats over you to try and keep warm. I remember us playing a show at the Oval Rock House in Norwich, must have been about 95 or 96, and we had nowhere to stay, so there was like a caravan next door to the venue, a burnt out old caravan with no windows, and we had to sort of sleep in there on these makeshift sofas, everybody sleeping huddled together. And it was hard times, but it was fun.
Good memories.
Exactly. Yeah. It's what shapes you as a band, I think.
So as I let you go, 5 words to describe Orange Goblin live.
Energetic, heavy, exciting, chaotic, and fun.
That's perfect. But I've got one more now. I had been looking at that awesome Thin Lizzy shirt the entire interview.
Yeah.
Favorite Lizzy song?
Don't know. There's so many. I like the song called Suicide or Fighting is a real favorite. But Lizzy's one of them bands where there's so many good albums and it changes from time to time. I mean, it always used to be Don't Believe a Word, just because those harmonies on there, and obviously Emerald and stuff like that. But recently my favorite album's been Thunder and Lightning, because it's kind of like that early 80s Thin Lizzy was just straight up metal. It really was. It was ferocious. Yeah, I mean there's not really a bad Lizzy album, so you take a pick.
I do love Emerald.
Yeah.
I forgot about it, and then Ace Frehley did a cover of it, and I was like, oh, I'll go back and listen to the original. I
remember first time I saw Mastodon was a small 500 cap room in London, and it was Mastodon, High on Fire. High on Fire were headlining, and no one had really heard of Mastodon at the time. And they came on stage, completely blew the audience away, and they did this cover of Emerald, which was just absolutely spot on with the harmonies and everything. And it was brilliant. And obviously we know what happened to that band following. They went on to superstardom. So yeah, Thin Lizzy, what an underrated, brilliant band.
Yep, awesome, Ben. I want to thank you for your time. We'll see you down here in April with new songs in tow.
Absolutely.
I'll see you in Brisbane, man. But thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. Pleasure's all mine. Thank you very much. See you in Brisbane.
Thank you, mate. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.